Welcome to ChampionsHeart. You can't play boxing. Featuring boxing addict Johnny Farace and friends from superfans to superstars. Let's roll.
Hey boxing fans, today on You Can't Play Boxing, I have with me 18-0 with 12 knockouts, the current WBC United Silverweight Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Cassius Chaney. What's up?
Not much, man. Just working hard and down here in Miami now, so just getting better, and I'm just looking forward to getting back in the ring.
Absolutely, as we all are. They had a little bit last night, so you're down here in Miami now. You moved down during COVID?
Yeah, actually, the first week of April, I just hopped on a plane and just came down because, it was just time for me to, make sure, take that next step and challenge, and it's been challenging, but, I'm getting better.
Good for you, good for you. All right, man, I want to go through your career because you come up a very unique way, and I love the way that you came up. You went all the way back, born in Baltimore, and then moved up to Connecticut, where you had a lot of success in basketball. You're first a champ in basketball, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about a little bit about your basketball coming out.
Going to Old Saybrook High School was different, coming from Baltimore, going to a predominantly white school, but, I made many friends, I was always just cool, and I love basketball, and I just stayed out of trouble, and, I was able to, my team and we were able to win a state championship, and it was 4 divisions that year, but coming from, we were pretty much we weren't supposed to make it, we were the smallest school, one of the smallest schools in the state. So for us to be able to get a state championship for my coach, who had been coaching for about 30 years, it was great, just being able to get that. And then going to college, it was difficult because I had a lot of individual success, but I always felt like even in college, I would probably end up boxing. I just never met boxers other than real professional ones when I was younger. I never met anybody that was my peer that was boxing. Otherwise, I probably would have ended up doing it. And then in college as well, not winning kind of took that want to play basketball more because there's so many different variables in that. I was always good one-on-one player and a real intelligent, passer and things like that. So once I graduated, I was I think this is the time for me to start boxing. To be honest, I look back on it and I'm happy I made that choice to go to the University of New Haven. But at the same time, it's I was very impatient with the process of going to different visits. I was just more you know what, whoever gives me my full scholarship, that's where I'm going, because I didn't understand the process. I was the first one to get offered a scholarship in my family. So I didn't understand the whole process of it. So for me, I was just go and make the best of it, graduate, and then I could be I was the first one that did that, So, I'm happy I did it because I found boxing, so.
You did find boxing. How did you find boxing?
It always piqued my interest, when I was little, my mom and my uncles, they used to have fight parties a lot, so I used to go down, check it out, and then run back up, and I always loved fighting movies and things like that. That's where it peaked, I wasn't into the names and stuff. I just liked the fact that they were fighting, I just love fighting. And in college, I used to say to myself, man, I think I'll be a good fighter. And Lennox Lewis, they had a Friday night fight on one time, and it just caught my eye, but I was on a scholarship. So I'm all right. But Lennox, I'm dang, man, he good. I think it was Lennox Lewis versus Ray Mercer. I think it was that fight. Yeah, I think it was that. It was a Friday night fight. I think John Scully was calling it, and I was just you know what, if I ever get a chance, I'll box. And I used to joke with my coaches about it. And after I graduated, one time I was just driving by and I Googled the gym in New London, and I just went in there, and they were you gonna come back? I was like, yeah, I'll be back every day. So I just stuck with it, and then that's all she wrote.
About when was that time you hopped into that boxing gym?
I would say about 2011, 2012, maybe.
2011, 2012. Yeah. You were what, about 23?
Yeah, 22, 23. Yep.
Right on. So you fell in love with it immediately, of course, because it's easy to fall in love with, you know. And then you started training right away and started fighting and competing right away?
Yeah, I fought actually. My first fight was actually that. So I started in that summer. So my first fight was like that December or January in the Golden Gloves, the Connecticut Golden Gloves. And I fought a guy with like 8 or 9 fights or something. And he had lost the year before, so he was trying to win it. Like, he had cameras, he had a crew. Like, it was crazy. And then I beat him. And then I went on to win the whole thing, like the whole New England as a novice. So I was like, oh, man, I might really be able to do this. So, you know, I was able to just stick with it. And, you know, I won a few nationals. And now I'm in Miami.
So you won a few nationals, and that positioned you for the promoter of the Main Events. Caught your eye?
Yeah. Main Events is Main Events is run by Kathy Duva. So at the time, I was training with Peter Manfredo Sr., who was, you know, we started together. Well, I started in London, but I went to Peter as like my second or third year as an amateur. And at that particular time, a manager was brought, you know how I go. And then we met with Main Events because my first fight got canceled. Like, we sold tickets, we did everything. We get there, no opponent. So I had to go in the ring and give an apology. This was at Foxwoods. And Main Events was just like, you know, you're a heavyweight, you know, we see that you got youth, you know, so I signed with Main Events. And the history, the Duvas, you know, their history of heavyweights, I just felt like it was a good situation.
Handled you well. They kept you busy right out of the chute. I think you fought like 5 times in 2015, right when you came out. Right?
Yeah.
Kept fighting through. You've been on a tear ever since. So then, when you turned pro, were you in Connecticut?
Yeah, I was in Connecticut. Yeah.
So you set up camp there?
Well, it was hard because, like, I was in Connecticut, but Peter's gym was in Narragansett, Rhode Island. So every day I was driving an hour, 2 hours. So I was driving an hour and 10 minutes there, an hour and 10 minutes back, like every day, sparring every day. So during that time, you know, I was getting calls for a lot of different sparring, like Tyson Fury, Mansoor. And I started to go down to Philly. My father's from Philly. My mom's side is from Baltimore. So I had that connection to be able to go different places to train. And I went down to Philly, you know, just, you know, and then, things happen. So, yeah.
You know, wow, yeah. Baltimore and Philly, you're going to be a fighter.
Yeah. It was like, I'm just, yeah, exactly. I'm just happy, like, it's like 2 things. My father's personality, which is crazy because he and Herman, my trainer here, German Caicedo, right? Their personalities are so alike. And I'm like, this is like, I don't even know. Like, I've never had to really live with my dad, like, for a year. But, like, I never had to live with him. But, you know, now I'm living here.
Now you're starting to get the feel, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, dang, dog. Like, goodness gracious, like, this is probably the right time because I'm more mature for it. You know, so maybe it's just destiny that I was supposed to, like, I needed this.
You know, we always say you can play basketball, but you can't play boxing, right? How do you compare, you know, the big game to the big fight from your experience so far?
You can't really, well, it's going to be many failures. Like, it's going to be many times of training and things like that. But it's night and day because, like going through adversity in that ring and you able to get through it, it stays with you. Like, if you quit, it stays with you. You know what I mean? Like, if you quit in basketball, like, it's guys that quit in football and things like that. You hear about it, but it don't necessarily stay with them unless it's something really drastic. But with boxing, if you fake on the floor and you act like you don't want to get up, if you get hit low, and you know what I'm saying,
none of that.
It's so many variables. Like, you know, like it's night and day. It's really night and day. It's like you can't compare. This is the hardest sport there is, no doubt.
Boom. And you know what? And adding to it, much like you mentioned before, having to go through things like you did, like fights being canceled, and you know, having to drive an hour to go get sparring and back. You know, earning it that way in boxing is like no other. And you know, though that too is what sharpens and makes it so much more of a tougher sport, the toughest sport out there ever. You know, there's no tapping out in boxing.
No, there's no tapping out, and it's just like the struggle of it is just real. Like, you really, like, even now, like right now, I don't know when I'm really going to fight. I just assume, so we're training like we're going to fight, but that mentally is hard. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Herman, he tells me every day, like, I'm not gonna let up. And like I'm like, dang, man, like, it's like my dad, you know what I mean? Like, he's like a father figure here, but it's like no other. There's no other, man. There's no other sport.
You are named after a legend in our sport, of course, Cassius Chaney.
Yeah, my dad just felt like one day before I was born, he was in like a grocery store or something, and he saw Cassius Clay on I think it was Time magazine. It was like him posted up, shirt off, white and black trunks, I believe, and he would do it. I'm gonna name my son Cassius, you know, and I was named after the greatest. And at one point though, in Philly, I actually went to a park, and I was about maybe like 7, and Joe Frazier was there with his grandkids, and my father introduced me, like, you know who that is? That's Joe Frazier. You know, like, this is the guy that you see on the wall, like boxing Ali. It was just like a regular picture. And Joe Frazier, and he told him that I was named Cassius, and Joe Frazier was like, "You're named after that guy," you know. And he wasn't mad, but it was like,
oh man, right.
Yeah, you named him after him, you know. So
I'm not gonna name him Joe though.
I'm not a Joe. So it was so that was my first interaction with a great fighter, and he was a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time as well.
Yeah, and you carry his name through your life. I personally wish my parents would name me Rocky, but I got Johnny, so I'll roll with it. It's all good.
I'll take it.
So, Champ, right on. So, rocking through the pros, man. I met you a few years back at a training facility in Boca. You were killing it, coming up, and here you are, 18-0 with 12 knockouts. And I remember prominently what kind of you caught the eye of many last September in Maryland, to be kind of your birthplace, right? When you hopped into the ring with Joel Caudle.
Yeah.
So, and that was definitely a night to remember, right? Walk us through that, because I know you probably, I want to know.
It's actually funny though, because like during that time where I met you at Big Time, I was actually training, but I was supposed to fight him, and it didn't happen. Like, you know, I'm like 7 fights in at the time, 8 fights. So I'm like, I don't care who I'm fighting. I'm not even thinking, you know what I mean? Like, I'm ready to train. I'm down here in Boca. So the fight that didn't happen, and he went on Facebook and he's like, I got a body bag for him. He pulled out I never pulled out the fight because I still fought. They just found a better opponent to fight me, who was Juan Good, who was physically looked better, was a better fighter, you know? So I fought him, and he said all this stuff online, so my mom saw it and my brothers, and they're laughing, but they also like, this is what this is, because they're not used to this, you know. Like, I'm living it. And for when I met you, it was like 3 years ago. So for that time, I was sitting on that, like, it was just in my mind, and I was just, so when they called me and said, Joel, you know, and he's been going the distance with good fighters, so they're like, Joel Caudle, that's who you're going to fight. I was hyped. So when that happened, when he went out the ring, I was kind of shocked. But I'm not really a cusser, but that's where the emotion came from, because he had said so many things prior, and I was just still a little riled up from it.
You know what? Your mouth can get your ass in trouble sometimes.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, he was talking crazy, and then he was just talking crazy. It was unnecessary, really.
So that came with obviously far more intention behind it than you did, but that was crazy, and you were laying some hammers on him even before you. I mean, all around that ring before you put him out of the ring, and when you did, he fell all the way to the cement.
Yeah, it was crazy, and imagine if that fight was to happen like now, where I've been training here and I've been like, I'm so much better and things like that, it would be like probably even worse. But the fact is that it happened then, and I was okay with it. Like I've seen it a few times, but I don't really watch it. You know, like it happened, and he's like, I got him out the way. I got him out the way.
You definitely got him out of the way, and you may not watch it, but I know millions of other has, because that video went viral and got a lot of eyes put on you from that one.
It was good.
Right?
Yeah,
that was
crazy.
What an awesome. Now, I was happy. I was watching it live, of course. I watch every live boxing event ever. And I was really happy about that, excited about that. And I'm going to touch on real quick that night, then turned a little sad after your fight with Maxim Dadashev and his bout, and what happened there. Was want to give a quick moment. That's the reality of boxing.
Right. God bless him. He was actually a good dude. Well, I don't understand Russian too much, but I met him. I met him in California when I was training there. After I left, I was training there with in Boca with y'all, right? Mm-hmm. And then we had to go to California with Curtis Stevens. So we kind of just moved from Florida to Cali, and they were there, and I had to work in a circuit with them. So he was a nice guy, man, and that happened, and that's boxing, and hopefully his family is good, and they're doing well.
Yeah, I hope the same too. That's a tough night. I know that probably stole a little bit of your excitement. What you just did, but that's the chances we take when we step in the ring, and God rest his soul and his family on that.
Right.
Moving on. All right, climbed out of that. You got yourself right back into action. A couple more fights, couple more knockouts. You're in a 7 knockout streak right now, right? From in the first round, right?
Yeah. And
then, damn it, COVID hit. What's going on?
Man. I don't know, man. Like, I was looking forward to, I fought in November. So I was looking to get back in the ring in January, like right away. I just felt like, I fought Nick Jones, but I felt like, all right, now get me back in there with somebody a little tougher, and, maybe in Connecticut, at Mohegan Sun or something. So with this happening, it really did hurt, but, I'm youthful, you know what I mean? Like, I take care of my body. I take care of myself. I don't drink or smoke or go out. So I have that going for me, So me being here, making this transition is even better because, I see why you live here. It's nothing like the warm weather,
right?
Yeah, nothing like it.
Yeah, and in terms of weather compared to Connecticut, definitely a huge difference.
Way different.
Way different. Man, so all right, so you're here to know how do you want to leave the sport? I know obviously we all want to leave as world champions, and you after being very accomplished and going into the sport with already a backup plan and a degree behind you. Tell us how you want to leave boxing. Be remembered in boxing.
Just wanted to be one of the best, man. Like that's the only thing I want is to win and be considered one of the best fighters. And he went out there, he fought. He had dog in him, and he was a late starter. But that's it. Like I always say this, like the money stuff will come, but like the legacy, that's makes me feel good. Like that's really what I want. The other stuff is for, I got nephews, and brothers and whatever. They can have fun with it, but for me, just to be like, I'm one of the best, one of the greatest, and, of my era or whatever. And look how I did it. I did it really, no one else has even done it like this, So for me to be able to do it, and I don't know, that would make me like, man, that would be great, you know. So.
That would be awesome, man. I've been a fan of yours ever since I met you. I've been following along, as you know, since we met way back when or whatever. And
I remember you getting in the ring and getting your workouts in and stuff like that. So
still doing man.
For sure. For sure.
Back at 51, right? So boxing.
Yeah, nah, you don't look 51 at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit that part out. So here we go. I got one for you, champ. So here we go. What does the headline say the day after Cassius Clay versus Cassius Chaney?
The headline goes, I don't even know what to do. That's funny. I've never heard that question before. It goes, draw.
Love that. That's an option.
Sure.
I really appreciate you coming on. You got anything you're working on right now? Anything you're promoting? Shirts, website?
Nah, I'm just new to the area, so I'm just getting used to this and learning it, and hopefully I'll get some some things done, shirts and stuff like that once I build up meet more people. Right now I kind of just stay inside. I'm getting used to the heat, but hopefully I fight soon. That's what I want.
Hydrate, champ.
Hydrate, yeah, thank you. Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, my man. Hey, thanks for coming on. I'm going to follow you on. We're going to do this again after your next fight, okay?
Thank you. Shout out to German Caicedo for bringing me here and teaching me. And I'm here with Ortiz and Carlos Negron and all the guys here.
Awesome. I'll have everybody shouted out in the description down below, and make sure you follow us wherever you are and subscribe. I appreciate you. Champ, I appreciate you for coming on and chatting with me.
Thank you.
You be good. Keep dreaming big and living large, my man. We'll be following along, all right?
Thank you. God bless. You can play basketball, but you can't play boxing.